system. Can you receive me? Disharmony, discomfort, or distress. Now, Michelle, if you notice, I don't tolerate disharmony. I don't tolerate things like that. Do you know why, Michelle? That if I'm on one page and you on another, you know why I don't tolerate that? Because that is disease. That is disease. You cannot be on one page and I'm on another. I do not tolerate that around me. Can y'all receive that? All right, that is disharmony. I do not tolerate disharmony. It can be physical, mental, or spiritual. This entails, therefore, the need for healing in one's life in areas like emotions and marriages and business and finances. There needs to be some healing all across the board. Can you receive me? Now, I do want you to understand that it's possible if things around you are falling apart. You got to remember the promise of the Lord. John 3:2 says, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou prosper and be of health, even as thy soul prosper." Michelle, is backwards. As your soul prospers in the Lord, as you learn the word of God, you're going to have health and you're going to prosper. Yes, it's backwards. So as much word as you know is about as much health as you're going to have and about as much prosperity as you're going to have. Somebody say amen. Amen. All right, so that's your faith. Now I'm talking to you. God values good health for humanity. Can you help me say amen? He values good health for humanity. I also want you to turn your attention to Exodus chapter 15, verse number 26. It's the devil of your mind who's the author of confusion and the evil and confusion and evil. God provides a hedge of protection. Now, notice I said it's the devil in your mind because you all be looking for things outside. The confusion is inside. It's the enemy in your mind. Stop looking for the enemy over there and looking for spirits. It's in you. And so you got to learn how not to carry confusion. Say amen. And so God is a God, a good God, ready to touch and heal your life. Can you say amen? A life has been declared to be a healer in Exodus 15:26. If thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and will do all which is right in thy sight, and will give an ear to his commandments and keep his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians. Now, the text says I brought. Actually, he did not do that. They did that. Right. And he said, "For I am the Lord that healeth thee." Mm-hmm. Now, I gotta say something to y'all, and I want to teach you something. How does that make sense? Because, Rolanda, none of that seems to make sense. How did God protect us in the first place? Okay. What is it that he said, keep my commandments? Okay. You understand that there's some things that you weren't supposed to eat, but you ate anyway. Yeah. Right. You understand there's some things you weren't supposed to have in your environment, but you have them anyway. Yeah. And this whole disease thing is that somebody was playing with something. Yeah. They had no business playing with it. And it infected somebody and somebody and somebody and somebody, and it's all over the world. And y'all walk around here playing with bats and all kinds of stuff. Experimenting on a bunch of stuff. Y'all, can y'all receive me? And now you sent the entire world into pandemonium because your experiment blew up. Say that. You got the Christians walking around here and saying crazy stuff out there. God, help me talk for the Lord. That crazy stuff coming out of your mouth because you said something that is absolutely ridiculous that's coming out of your mouth. So what is the attitude of us and what philosophy we think? In Judeo-Christian tradition, the notions of disease, health, and healing are intertwined with the notions of the covenant and of the law. Relationships to God and sin and evil. One is confronted with the idea of a psychosomatic unity between the body and the mind. Bless you, Bishop and Bishop. Here's the thing that I want you to understand, that there are some things that the mind is created out of stress. Yes. And the mind has created it. It doesn't really exist, but in your mind it does. And so then it really feels that way. Sometimes doctors send patients to me because they have psychosomatic symptoms. It's my job to get them to understand that you really are not dying. You just simply need to drink this, eat that, exercise this, rest that, and you will be better. Now, all the saints are running around, but what I want to tell you again today is because your immune system is weak, you are at risk of a lot of things. And so you got to learn what to do, as I talked to you earlier today, what to do when you hear these things are going on. How does one protect oneself? What does one do? And then what did God tell us in the beginning? And there are things that we need to understand, because we are not supposed to be afraid. We're to be informed, but we're not to be afraid. Somebody had to say amen. And so I've told you what to do, and then we've consulted with the medical staff, and I've given you that. And I said before, we're going to go and teach profoundly on the fact of what is it that you need to be doing in an era like today. So tradition talks about disease and health and healing and how is it entwined with the covenant and the law. One of the things that I want you to understand is the covenant of God and the law of God. And understanding the covenant of God, the law of God, you can protect yourself from a lot of stupid stuff, sicknesses and diseases and other things that goes on, because you are covered by not only the blood of God, the word of God that will never go down. Somebody get me say amen. You want to make sure that you are in relationship to God. Sin is missing God. It is missing the mark of God. It becomes evil. One is confronted with the idea of psychosomatic unity between body and mind, because the physical disease is largely, but not exclusively, viewed as originating, first of all, in the mind. And so there are things that we've got to deal with. So we have to talk about the ancient and primitive attitudes which we saw a disease as a result of hostile or magic, or the violation of or taboo. In the case of hostile magic, the cause of the sickness was imputed to another person. In the case of taboo violation, the sick person himself or herself was seen as responsible for the sickness, although the ancient Babylons thought that some of the simple illnesses resulted from natural causes. They attributed the disease and most disease conditions to demonic forces. And so the biblical tradition attributes disease to various sources, but most frequently a psychic element rather than natural causes. For instance, in Exodus chapter 4, verse 11, and Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 39, disease is seen as a punishment from God. In Job, it is caused by the jealousy of others in Job 5 and 2, or the work of the adversary in Job 2 and 7. In the Gospel of Mark, spirits of dumbness, 9 and 17, or uncleanness in the book, chapter 9, verse 25, cause disease. In Ecclesiastes, self-indulgence is the cause in chapter 37, verse 30 to verse 31. And all of these causes disease. There's an explanation of a common or intentional or volitional element, whether the agent is God, the adversary, or evil spirits, or others ones of itself. And yet, according to the most popular, persistent biblical notion of disease, it is God's punishment for disobedience and sin, and that is a result of what people think of personal intentions contrary to divine intentions. Bishop, what do you really think? I think that they have played with bats. I think that they have played with stuff that they should not have been touching. And they have disturbed the entire cycle of the world because you had evil intentions. You wanted to destroy a group of people, but you could not contain this thing. Can I tell you something about evil? You can't contain evil. Once you release evil, evil goes to everybody. And now evil will get to everybody, and sickness and disease can get to anybody, except those, again, who have decided that they're going to not only cover themselves by the blood of God. Can you help me say amen? Because when death walked through Egypt, because the blood was on the doorposts, death could not enter into the house. Now, even if you didn't belong to the house, but they told you could come in, if you were a guest or a friend, evil and death could not touch you because of who you were covered by. Now I got to ask you a question. Who are you fooling with now? Who are you playing with? Who are you in association with? Who are you covered by? Do you understand covenant power? Do you understand the law of God? Do you understand what we're supposed to be about? Because if you do, you can live and not die. I would that you prosper and be of good health, even as thy soul prosper. I heard him say, I will Lord my God and I heal thee. So God still has healing power. It is very important for us to understand the laws of God. Can you say amen? Children, I got a few minutes I'm going to get out of here. The punishment is not that God is an evil God and God walks around and just does things because you does things. He doesn't have temperaments and have fits like we think we have fits. And he just decides to punish you because he don't like what you did. What he does is he lets you do what you do, and then the consequences of what you do is yours. You did that. You brought the evil upon you. God really didn't do it. Even though the text says God did it, really he didn't do it. What God did is became God and said what God says. And he lets you do what you do, and then all of a sudden he comes on you and he says, are you ready to be healed? And if you're ready to be healed, then you can do an about face and be healed. I wish I had somebody in this room. Are you ready to stop eating some of the things you're eating so diabetes can go away? Are you ready to exercise? I can need to exercise so diabetes can go away. Are you ready to change your lifestyle so that some of these illnesses can go away? Are you ready to get in the word of the Lord? Are you ready to get into worship? Are you ready to get into praise? Are you ready to have a prayer life? Are you ready to be covered by the blood? Are you ready for obedience so that you can be healed? Because if the people begin to obey God, healing can really come. But you got to get to a posture of obedience.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I wish I let somebody help me say amen. You got to stop being wild as an ass. Now I want to tell you something, and that is, if you notice anything about me, I'll let you say what you want to say. Do what you want to do, and I'll be respectful and not say nothing. You be thinking that I'm weak, but I'm really not weak. I'm really strong. What I'm telling you is because you said it, and because you did it, you're going to eat the fruit thereof. You said it, you did it, you set yourself up. And the world, and let me tell you something, the Bible says, turn them over to the devil. When the devil finishes with them, they'll be glad to sit under you and respect. I'm not walking around here fighting y'all and talking back to y'all and y'all talking back to me. I'm going to turn them over to the devil. When the devil finishes with you, you'll be glad to come in here and set your butt down.